Okay, so the setup wise, you can see now very different, yeah? Okay, all out of the way. In terms of spacing, arms hanging down, bit of room there for your arms to swing, okay? So previously, club went back, didn't really turn your torso, started getting quite lifty here. When you start lifting your arms from here, not really twisting, the elbows start splitting very, very close to the body. We get this kind of what we call cupping in the left wrist. When that cupping here, it's called a cup, like a little cup sort of saucer. You're just basically opening the club face. When the club face is there opening, it's now pointing over here, yeah? Because from that position, if nothing changes, your club is going to be coming back to impact, following where that yellow line goes. Yeah. The ball then slices the right or goes, and then you'll try and do something to stop that, whether it means sort of leaning back or swinging the club in this direction somewhere, which invariably causes more slice spin, or hitting the ground behind the ball, or thinning it and topping it, or even really topping the ball and maybe missing it, okay? So that was your backswing there, okay? This swing here now took up like 57 seconds on it. So there was your backswing there. Certainly better in terms of the width, okay? As you're going back and you're doing some practice swings there. Then I said you just swing the top of the backswing, okay? And try and feel that wrist. Didn't quite understand, that's fine. So we came in there, got you there, and then we got that crank in that wrist there. So you see the club face now, look at the club face in the sky there. See how it's changing direction? So there's pointing up to the sky, there the toes pointing down. Now this, to be fair, when I'm there, that is wrong. But it's wrong the other end of the spectrum. So that position, we'd call that in a closed position, club face now into the left. But if your club face is going way to the right, we want to try and practice. Exactly, yeah. So you're making more movements there. So then you did that there, get that rev in the engine, kind of that sort of sensation. I then got the weight, and you made a swing here now, which, again, technically is not very... Well, to be fair, that's not too bad. That's actually pretty good there. So you got that flatter left wrist there. There's the club face, and the arms are just... And the elbows are together. They're not splayed this way. And you got the club face now feeling a bit awkward, okay? Then you did it again. Good. So you almost over-exaggerate that feeling, okay? Then you did it again. Too much, but again, I don't mind it being too much, it's fine. But you can see here now, you're what we call practicing the movement you want to make when the ball gets in the way. Elbows a lot more together. If the body was twisting a little bit more and there wasn't quite so much tension, your arms are better to get a little bit higher, which will give that perception of it with a longer swing. And then we step to the golf ball. As we go back, we got the spacing. The left wrist now is flat, not bowed as we call it. So this is the bowed way, which is like that sort of over-exaggerate the revving of the engine. This is where you're cupped, okay? So you can see in those two positions there how the elbows are very different, yeah? How the wrist now is more in that position, not kind of that position. Yeah. But by over... So your practice was this green line with your wrist, yeah? And the reality was the red line, yeah? Because what was happening before was the blue line cupping this way. So you over-exaggerated it, great. And we come back to the golf ball now because the club face now is in a straighter position. We came back to the golf ball, struck the golf ball with a nice square club face. Ball goes straight towards the white side there and goes nice and straight. Then you got the golf ball, put back on the mat, did a straight swing, hit it without any practice, the ball went to the right. Because the reason, and this is what people often do, when they make all these, oh, this is great, they hit a ball nice, they go, oh, I've got it.
Yeah, I'll do it again, yeah.
And then I'll do it again and again. The reason why that went straight was because of the prep work. It's the same old thing if you're like, oh, I use sensitive toothpaste. Well, the sensitive teeth go away. Then you stop using the sensitive toothpaste, what happens? You start having ice cream, like, oh, it stings again, yeah? So you've got to maintain it. So in practice, this is why I said I'd rather you hit 50 balls in 30 minutes, and rather than having a ball, a quicker amount of 2-3 balls per minute, you have one ball, but have this prep in between shots, yeah? So we start off with, I mean, a practice session I would like to see for most people, say half an hour window, which is what people tend to have, is 50 balls, but 10 or 15 is just based those small little just chippy swings, just getting yourself ready. And then have 10 swings where you're really exaggerating that left wrist into the other way. Now again, to move your wrist how you want to, you've got to be loose. What we don't want to do is go, oh, I don't want my wrist to bend this way. Okay, I'll lock them out so they can't move at all. But now you can't control them. It's just, there's like saying, okay, hold your phone and text, or squeeze your phone, now try and use your thumb. You're like, I can't actually do anything. Or hold a pen and write. You're like, oh, it needs to be, so you need to be able to move your body in such a way to control that club face. But do 10 or 15 swings, maybe 10 swings, should we say? So you've had 10 warm-up swings, now you're doing 10 swings with a 8, 9, 9, 7, or whatever, working on that wrist. And then hit 5 shots then without any prep at all. See how those 5 shots go. If the 5 shots go back to being slice again, or one way, then back to practicing again. If those 5 7-irons go well, we go, okay, I'll go now to a 5-iron or a hybrid. Do 10 swings now with that wrist position again. Hit 10 shots, now do 5 without the thing, and see how they go. If they're good, perhaps go to the next one with the last 10 or 15 shots. So you're just going through it and say, and if at one stage you go, I'm not very good with this club, okay, I'll practice at that club. It's like a team doing team drills or activities, yeah? They'll go, okay, we're going to work on set pieces, yeah? We're going to do this, okay, we've got that, now we're going to work on scrimmaging. And that's okay, we'll spend more time practicing that. Yeah. Rather than just throwing rugby balls around and kicking them as far as you can, you actually do something specific. Your focus needs to be on the club face. Yeah. He was sending the ball off to the right, as you said, yeah? Not as much as before, but it's still got a tendency to go that way, okay? Yeah. So we've got to practice club face control. Yeah. How do we do that? Well, we've got to grip the club better. We had your grip, your thumb was moved around a bit too excessively there, so before it was on the wrong side, then you moved it the other way. Yeah. We're going to try and get that thumb and forefinger just about to support that club at the top of it. If the thumb's around here somewhere now, it's not going to have much sort of, you're going to want to try and get your thumb under the shaft, which means you're going to probably end up going back to that cupped wrist again. So getting that thumb and forefinger together, and then the right hand, as we said, together on the club, whether you baseball or whatever makes no difference, but getting the hands together on the club and loose. Okay. Backswing wise now we're just focusing on a bit more of a turn of the body, and that left wrist is key. And don't be afraid to do it slowly. There's no rush needed. No balls being hit in the backswing, and what the club does in the backswing speed wise is not going to be known by the golf ball. All the golf ball knows when you come back to it and you're whacking it down there. That's when you've got to be fast down here, Andrew. Don't be fast up there, but that left wrist position is much better. You've got to practice that every shot till it becomes something you just naturally do. So make sense, yeah?
Yeah, it's a lot of components in it to break up.
And that's what, and to be honest, I'm not trying to scare you going forward. This is just the backswing. Exactly. And again, we worked on setup for the first session, sort of posture and get that kind of stuff. And we always go back to fundamentals because it's so easy to go back into kind of old habits, because that's what, I almost say they're old habits, they're kind of just things that you do instinctively, okay? So you got to keep looking at that distance from the ball there, keep double checking that, okay? And we're working on this left wrist to control that club face, okay? Once that gets better, it's putting the next stage together. And in some ways, to get to a level where you want to get to now, we only tend to work on the backswing anyway, because with all due respect, when people start playing golf, they haven't got the skill set to work on a golf club working at 80 mile an hour down there. So as long as this bit up here is good, it gives them a chance. That gets them on the golf course, hitting the golf, they can get on the golf course in around 100, 100 whatever, and then start trying to break 100. Once they start getting to that level, then, and I suppose in some ways, as the golfer gets slightly better, we then can work a bit more on some of these things here, which might be more in terms of shaping the shot, right to left, left to right, high and low, all these different sort of shots that are better, that a better player would want to try and do, To start with, just get that ball going forward, That's what we're trying to do. Get the club face square, understand that club face, hit the ball more towards the target. Okay, mate? Cool. Right, have a couple more then, buddy. But try and do that practice at least some extent before the shot, Even if it's just one movement, Andrew, where we just go, got it, and go to the golf ball. Okay, buddy?